Hello and welcome to the Morning Skate Podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell to cover the Tuesday, April 3rd NHL DFS slate. DJ, how was the end of March? How was your weekend? Do
Oh,
anything fun?
I don't know. I went to the Rochester Amherst game, got to see them win in overtime, got to see Will Borgen or Borgen. I still have not confirmed how to say his name, but not a DFS relevant name right now. It was pretty fun, got kind of drunk, and that was good. And then that was Thanksgiving. Easter was fun. My family makes Greek food on Easter, and we're not Greek, so I don't know why.
It's
And I was the
really
only one not to be like super really drunk because I had to drive. And yeah, it was a regular shit show at my family's party. I was just enjoying the watch. I'm just like, man, this is not like normal, but all right. And then I had to move my sister in on Monday, and I'm exhausted now. So Matt, how was your weekend?
yeah, Nashville is
Go
every bit
anywhere
as
fun?
advertised. Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the weekend. Yeah, spent a weekend with my dad out in Nashville, so saw the Sabres win, saw Eichel tie a franchise record with 5 assists against the best team in the NHL. So that's yeah, that was pretty fun, I would say.
A
Um,
heck of a
you know,
stat is
did
that
you?
I got to see
I,
the Sabres beat Tampa in Tampa, and you got to see the Sabres beat Nashville in Nashville. I mean, that is
that
got to
is
be a miracle.
quite the year.
Sorry, I cut you off. What
Um,
were you saying?
yeah, no, just the most important thing to happen this entire season, though. Samson got his first hat trick of the year. Can't
Honestly,
say it was
yeah. So
because I was there, but I was there, so
the last goal definitely,
wearing
like,
his
by the
jersey.
grace of
Oh
moods,
my
made my
God,
night. Like, I
that was
mean, that didn't
amazing.
make any. I was certain that it wasn't him at first. I'm like, Wilson got that home, and they showed it, and Wilson like it was in the back of the net, and he's still like hitting it in. I'm like, what are you doing, Wilson? He's like, you got it, you got it. It was really funny.
Yeah, he
Um,
scored. Yeah, he scored that, then pointed at Samson
yeah, I know. I was
what
like,
is he?
wait,
Oh no, I
I don't
thought
know
he
what you did
stole.
there. Yeah, I
Um,
know. That would have been really funny. All right, but great Sabres win. It now pushes them to dead last place, where they reside. Although they're only a couple points out of being in second to last, so
yeah,
things are looking up. Um, but we can just get into this slate. The Sabres are not on it, thank the Lord. They got
yes,
murdered by Toronto on Monday, so
yep.
I didn't watch because I'm studying for a test and really, really
It
shouldn't be
was
podcasting. Like, out of
it
all
was
of the
bad.
things, yeah, of all the decisions I've made in my life, this is a bad one. This one's gonna hurt me in the long run, but whatever. I
All
do it for
right,
the fans. So why don't we
well,
get into it?
let's do it. We've got 9 games. The Rangers at Devils, Flyers at Islanders, Red Wings at Columbus, Winnipeg at Montreal, Boston at Tampa, Nashville at Florida. There we go. Arizona at Calgary, Vegas at Vancouver, and Dallas at San Jose. So this is maybe the biggest slate in terms of injuries, guys resting that I can remember. So be sure to keep these notes in mind that that we've dug up, but also note that it is Monday night, so you're going to get a lot more information in Tuesday morning skate. So let's start with the Rangers at the Devils. The Devils here a minus 250 favorite right now. Rangers look to be without Jesper Fast and Matt Zuccarello for the rest of the year. Um, Obviously leaves a role on the first line and first power play wide open, as well as a role on the second line and second power play. Um, so, I don't really have any great inclinations of who's going to be filling those roles. But if I had to guess, it might be someone like Elias Anderson or Filipino, who we saw get called up at the end of last week, and both reside in the mid 3Ks. So just a couple of noteworthy points there. DJ, I did mention that the Devils are the largest favorite on this slate, that maybe Vegas will be, but I think that'll be close given that Vegas is on the road. Um, so, what are your thoughts on the New Jersey side of things? Also for New Jersey, Kyle Palmieri seems like he'll be playing. He took a nasty cut on Saturday night. Seemed like he was out Sunday and then flew to meet the team on Sunday night and played. But if he's out, that opens up a supreme role as well. So keep an eye out for that. But I guess, DJ, are you playing Taylor Hall or are you not playing Taylor Hall?
Oh man, the price is really, really high. 7.9 on DraftKings. I mean, it just feels like a lot of these Devils like probably could have been priced down, except for Taylor Hall, who's been absolutely red hot. I think it's definitely like I have nothing against the play in GPPs. I feel like it's probably spending a bit too much of your cap. I mean, he's the most expensive player on the slate. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean it's there. I do think that Palmieri's price is also kind of too high now to where I don't really want to get involved, especially with I just don't think he's worth 64. And I think that maybe I'll look into some value on the Devils, but I'm gonna really be hard pressed to actually like put Taylor Hall in my lineup and feel good about it. He's McDavid priced. Um, but is he worth it? Like I think boy, the Rangers are really bad. I don't know. Honestly, this is a real toss up for me right now. I don't know if I could say it. Matt, I'll just send it to you. What do you think about
Yeah,
Taylor
I
Hall?
mean, I think it depends on what they do in the morning skate. It appears as if last game they kind of flip-flop between Pat Maroon and Cal Palmieri on that first line of Holland Heischer.
Yeah.
If it's Pat Maroon there, I mean, we saw what we could do
Yes.
alongside McDavid, and that price with the first power play role he's playing is just way too cheap. So I think that that makes a very makes a ton of sense in terms of a stack. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm not really about this Palmieri Hall. Um,
No.
the Rangers are bad. Like, don't get me wrong, but they haven't really been playing that poorly. Um, they've been relatively competitive in most of their games. So I'm not really looking to go too far dumpster diving here, just because I don't really trust New Jersey to do anything outside of Taylor Hall.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like if you're playing New Jersey, you probably should have Hall in your lineup. I'm just not sure if I'm going to play New Jersey. Like, it doesn't.
Right.
It feels like a spot that could be a bit of a fish take to just jam in New Jersey, just because of the Vegas line, and I think people will jump on it a bit too much. Not that
Yeah.
it's the worst idea in the world, because like you mentioned, the Rangers are pretty bad, but I mean they're not totally like giving up on this year, and there's a lot of young talent, like you
Right.
mentioned with Hedel and Anderson. So I'm okay with it. But do you have any thoughts on Pavel Zaka as a potential kind of punt? I mean, maybe we'll have to see the morning skate, but
Um, I think he's fine. I think 3,900 is too much for what I would want to spend on him. I liked him when he was like low threes,
yeah,
but I just don't think he'll get that power play role.
yeah, that's the
Um,
problem. All right.
that's kind of where I stand there. I'd rather play one of the Rangers guys, assuming that Hedel or Anderson play on the power play. So you could get some value there. Obviously, Zibanejad is in play, but we can move to Philly at the Islanders. Um, I don't think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no like injuries of note here. I did notice that the Islanders went 11-7 last game, so they could do something silly like that again. Um, so I, I don't know. For me, I'm not really that interested in this game. Like the Islanders are at home, and I do want a piece of like this Couturier, Giroux, Konechny line, but Giroux's been so hot that he's been priced up to above 7,000 now. Um, I just I just don't see myself spending that type of money here. Um, so, DJ, any thoughts on this game and maybe one spot you'd want to target here?
I do really. I think that the Philly side might get a. I mean, I don't know. It's 9 games. It's not really going to matter. Oh man, I don't know. I do. I don't really know if I want to pay these top Philly prices. Are there any? I don't know. My computers are really loading slow. What do we got? Patrick Lindbaum Voracek line is still going together. And
Yep.
just like, are you gonna play that power play too? Like, probably not. Boy, this is. I don't know. This feels like a game where I want exposure to the Philly side, but I don't know where I want to get it through. And like you mentioned with Giroux, like that's might be
Yeah.
where you want to go. Maybe you get a little bit tricky, like not tricky, maybe like contrarian-ish with Konechny, but he's really not priced down too much for I think his actual value. And if you're gonna play Konechny and you don't stack that first line, like what you didn't do it right. So this is tough.
Yeah,
If you want to break the bank on
honestly,
Philly, I'm not like opposed to it, but I'm not all in on it.
yeah, I mean, I don't like, the expected goals, nothing's pointing me in this direction, but I honestly think if they go 11-7 again, that the Islanders might be the better values here. Matt Barzal is only 5,800. If they go 11-7, he'll be double shifting a ton. So that gets you a lot of they get to a lot of different exposures
Mm,
throughout that lineup, first power play, etc. And then like Anders Lee, um, I think Josh Bailey was rotating in and out of lines this morning on Monday's practice, so keep an eye on his status. But Jordan Eberle jumped up to the first power play in place of Josh Bailey. Um, so that's maybe the biggest news. Um, just trying to find confirmation of that real quick. But yeah, so I think that, those two are my favorite two plays from this game just because the forwards on Philly have been priced up. Gostisbehere, I think, makes a ton of sense too. I think he's like your just, de facto cash play. But um, anything else here or move on to the next one?
no, I agree with the Barzell take. I definitely like that one a lot. Other than that, yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Let's see, Detroit at Columbus. No confirmed news here, but guys like Bobrovsky, Panarin have the flu. So, you know, I think Columbus is clinched. If they haven't, they're very close to clinching. Um, so, yeah, I think that Columbus might rest some guys, could create some interesting value, but it also could hamper this first line. Pierre-Luc Dubois is 6,100. Uh, Panarin is 75, and Atkinson is all the way up at 7.
Mm.
So, I think this is one of those like just stay away spots personally because of the illness, because of everything else. Um, not a ton to play for here, etc. Interestingly, Seth Jones put up a 4-point night over the weekend and they lost. Like that's pretty impressive to do against the Vancouver Canucks.
That is a feat that I didn't know could happen, honestly.
So
I didn't know they allowed Vancouver to score more than 2 goals in the NHL this year. So I'm surprised.
maybe they're just saying, well, let's see, it actually wasn't Bobrovsky, it was Korpisalo. So maybe Korpisalo has the flu as well.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a rough one. That's a really rough game. I mean,
Yeah.
boy, that's not what you want to see going into the playoffs. But wait, Columbus are they clinched?
Uh, yeah, I was kind of riffing on that. I think they have, but
Right. Yeah, me too.
um,
So yeah, obviously this feels like one that we're gonna have to wait and see on the Columbus Lions. If Panarin's out, that could bump a guy like I don't know, honestly, like maybe Jenner Wemberg. Like, do you think Wemberg gets like? But Wemberg's a center. Like, I think about him centering Atkinson to. I don't really know what they do. Maybe Bjorkstrand gets the jump, but if one of those guys like Bjorkstrand gets to jump up to the first line, that'd be nice. Let's say Panarin's out, do you think that puts Jenner on the power play one?
um, actually, I think it might be a guy like Bjorkstrand or
Yeah,
probably Bjorkstrand. I could see them pushing Dubois out to like not quite the Panarin role, but like kind of down low versus right in that front, and maybe a guy like Vanek or Jenner could go there. But if they're looking to replace Panarin directly, it would be Bjorkstrand. It's just kind of guessing right now that he'll be out, but I can't imagine if he's like super sick that he'll play anyways. So if he plays, I think he's fully good to go. Like I'm not that worried about it. It's just the price, I think, is, are you going to spend the extra 100 for Nikita Kucherov with no Stamkos, which we'll get to in a second? I don't know, but
yeah.
I think there's some decent values down here, like in the low sixes, that just make a bit more sense. And
Also,
note that does not include Thomas Vanek, who is 5,900.
yeah, not even
It's
considering it.
ridiculous.
Also, just to clarify, Columbus can clinch a playoff spot with a win on Tuesday over Detroit or a loss of any kind, regulation, overtime, shootout loss by Florida. So they have not clinched. They can clinch tomorrow. So I mean, they do have something to play for here. But there's some again, like I mean, they're pretty much in at this
Yeah.
point. So I don't know if they would push a guy like Panarin in a sickness to play. I mean, it doesn't feel like a Tortorella kind of move, anyways. Although who the heck knows what he's gonna do? So I'm either gonna play
Right.
that. Maybe it is a Tortorella move. I don't know. I just feel like he'd be like, oh, I don't think he's got the grit today. So who knows? That was my best Tortorella impression. You can let me know if it was good.
That's decent.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see anything confirming though.
Yeah. Jack Johnson draws back into the lineup. He's 2,800. I would expect him to play, 17, 18 minutes. Nudi Vara got hurt last game, so that could be a decent, just a full punt. Again, 2.8 for a guy who's going to play minutes. not a ton, but I think we know that Jack Johnson is just a decent fantasy asset, which is better than most of the guys at that price. So just throwing that
Any,
name out there.
anything on Detroit before we move on? We didn't even say the name yet.
Jeez, Joe Hicketts, maybe.
The defenseman.
Yeah, I mean he's playing power play with Larkin.
Yeah.
Um, God, but that's really like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of two minds here because looking at this slate, I feel like everyone that I like is being priced up a little bit, and Larkin and Mantha have actually been priced way down. Um, if you think that Columbus is sick, that they just gave up 5 goals to Vancouver, kind of playing out the string. I mean, obviously Florida could go 4-0 to end the season. They could go 0-3 and blow it, but that's exceedingly unlikely. So, um, I certainly would not expect Columbus to, be this like stalwart defensive team. So if you like the values there, I think that's like the 3-man stack that gets you a ton of value in Larkin, Mantha, and Hicketts. Like it's disgusting. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Joe Hicketts, I don't even know who that is. But he's been playing there. He put up 6 block shots against Pittsburgh in an up pace matchup. This should be another push the tempo type of game. So I can see it working.
Sure. I'm down. I'm down with that. That's a pretty decent punt, I think.
Right.
But why don't we move on to Winnipeg on a back-to-back against the dead Montreal Canadiens? Winnipeg has got to have absolutely nothing to play for, but Montreal is very not good at hockey. So, what are our thoughts on this game initially? After Winnipeg gave up 5 goals to the Senators, does that just at all give you like a maybe Montreal, these cheap guys could be interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I was poking around like the Paul Byrons of the world just because the minutes are so there. Um, I get it if you want to play a guy like Gallagher. I don't know, 5,600 though against Winnipeg. Like, I just think Winnipeg's really good. They could be resting more guys than they did on Monday night. They rested Bufflin, so I would expect him to draw back in, but maybe he doesn't. I don't actually know that for sure. But in general, I think this is more of a stay away for me than it is anything else. But yeah, if I had to pick one guy from this game, I think it would be Gallagher versus any of these Winnipeg guys, actually. Jake Trouba, if Bufflin's out again, I think is almost a lock at 4,900 because he'll be playing that first power play unit. Bufflin's been priced up to 62, so you can kind of see the difference there, getting exposure to that awesome first unit. And then Blake Wheeler, if I had to pick one Winnipeg forward, but I think that's kind of my brand at this point. So do you have any thoughts on Laine here? Because, kind of Laine's thing. He gets quiet for a few games and then he just erupts. Are you kind of looking for him to end the season hot, or are you a little bit concerned about what he's done in the minutes since Scheifele's returned?
I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with the price for what is like. I mean, it really is like he's like the ultimate GPP guy. Like if you want to be contrarian tomorrow, I don't think many people will be on Laine. I mean, it's a 9-game slate, so I wouldn't worry about ownership too much, anyways. It's not a sexy spot. He's not probably going to see more than 14, 15 minutes, is what kind of has been the trend. How many minutes do they have against Ottawa? You may ask. Yeah, 13.3. Well, 13:32. So that's concerning on a back-to-back, and like it doesn't feel good. If you're gonna play him, like you're stacking kind of some power play. So yeah, like Trouba, if there's no Bufflin, would be like a pretty nice stack. But like I feel like you have to be going power play with him, and you have to be like hoping that they just eviscerate Montreal's penalty killing unit, which I think is somewhat likely doable because I don't really love their units, but it's very GPP only. Like you are trying to be contrarian and you think Winnipeg is just gonna roll over Montreal, which can happen, but I don't know. I'm not personally gonna jump on it. I think I'd rather kind of consider fully fading this game at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, news can change that, but even though the expected goals really do like Winnipeg here, I'm a bit hesitant given the contextual factors surrounding it. So let's go to Boston at Tampa. This game actually does have some meaning. Um, yeah, I think Boston's past Tampa now to lead that division. But it appears that Steven Stamkos will be out. He's officially a game time decision or questionable or whatever. Cooper said he was basically unlikely to play as he's dealing with something nagging. Um, so I don't know. I'm kind of the mindset that like I want whoever's going to play with Kucherov. So last game that was Tyler Johnson moving up to that line and moving up to that power play unit, I should say. And it looks like Braden Point moved into center. Uh, Kucherov and Miller at 5-5. Both of those guys are relatively cheap. Across the board, honestly, Tampa's pretty cheap here. So
Yes.
this seems like a really, really good spot to me personally. Like there is something to play for here. I'm not sold that Boston's like going to shut them down, especially at home. I know they've done pretty well against them this year, but um, I just really like being, jumping on these guys as their prices fall versus jumping on other players on other teams at the same price who, as of 3 weeks ago, were 2,000 less than these guys. So
Yeah,
um,
I really agree. I really think that the Kucherov point stack could be like one of my favorites, and it's definitely priced down. That's why I don't think I'll have a guy like Hall tomorrow. I don't think he's as good of a play as that kind of a stack. Um, I don't. I mean, like Boston's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and say anything too negative, but their defense is still pretty banged up. Kevin Miller actually led them in ice time with 23 minutes. That is kind of because they didn't get too much power play time. But I'm not that interested. I don't think that they're anything that couldn't be exposed a bit. And with Tampa Bay, definitely, if they're really going all out here, they're going to get Point and Kucherov as many minutes as possible. You're not going to be able to line match as well as they might want to. So I'm all in on it. That's definitely a top stack for me. So is there anything else on the Boston side? Is there any
uh,
chance Rick Nash returns before the playoffs? I'm pretty sure it's a no, right?
he's not going to play. I want to say Carlos is now done for the year. I think he suffered a really nasty injury the
Yeah.
other day.
That's another defenseman that he
So Chara
yeah.
came back, so he's
Yes.
good to go. And let's see,
Grzelcyk is
Charlie McAvoy could return as well. So there's a lot up in the air here. I feel like if both McAvoy and Chara are playing,
mm,
that'll be like a big deterrent to me, just because that McAvoy is just such a good defenseman in terms of like his on ice impacts that that's definitely a key cog in their defensive mechanisms. But if he's out again, I mean, there's just no arguing with what Torrey Krug's done lately. Like he
mm.
is the definition of my favorite type of DFS defenseman, shooting the puck, picking up power play points like a boss. So I could see playing him, but in general, I'm much more leaning towards the Tampa side at home here.
Okay. So anything else we want to mention before we move on to Nashville at
No.
Florida? No. Yeah, Nashville at Florida.
Yep.
So Florida on a back-to-back in another must-win game to remain alive, correct? Is it
Yes.
technically right? Yeah, it
Yes.
is. Okay.
I don't know if it's technically a must win. I can check
Yeah,
that, but
you check that. But basically, I'll just kind of run through. Trocheck saw 20 minutes. Huberto saw 18. Barkov saw 19. Kind of exactly what we'd expect. Dadonov almost 18. So like top guys, top minutes as we expected. Definitely should carry over to Nashville. Obviously, Nashville, not a team we love to target, but if you would have, thrown in the old Buffalo Sabres, what onslaught, then you would have won all the money, which is just what everyone does every night because that's the smart thing to do with your money. But these Florida guys still not, I mean, not as high as they've been, not priced down as much as maybe they could be. But it's not the worst. Do you have any interest in just riding the narrative of Florida, all out? These top guys are going to see the most minutes physically possible, just to try to get them over this, give them a chance going into the last stretch of the season.
yeah. So something really really interesting from Monday's game, Florida versus Carolina. Um, Jonathan Huberto was replaced on the first power play unit by Jamie McGinn.
Huh.
like it's I don't I don't understand at all. Don't get me wrong, but he's playing on that second line with Huberdeau and Trocheck at 5-on-5, so I could really get behind like a Trocheck and McGinn like mini stack here. Throw in Yandel, throw in Barkov for like extra goodness. But yeah, I noticed that, and I was just one, I'm really confused, but two, I'm
Hmm.
kind of excited about it just because I don't know how much play it'll get because
Confused
it
and
just
excited.
happened. That if that doesn't describe me, I don't know what does.
I don't know what does. But yeah, Yandel's coming down in price. Matheson's coming down in price. Matheson is a guy that like I just love to see as like every time I look at the slate, I look in return. I always got to check out what he did, and he's just always shooting the puck, always being kind of a good Corsi driver, but just does not get the recognition and does not get the power play time that I feel like he deserves. Yandel, a guy that gets the power play time, but does not, in my opinion, have the same amount. I mean, actually this year Yandel's definitely picked it up a bit, but I feel like Matheson's a bit more of an Corsi driver. So if you want to look at 5-on-5 timer, I wouldn't suggest it at all. But no, I'm not even gonna say power play too. I wouldn't even consider it really. Yeah, I would just look at these top Florida guys and say if you want to ride the narrative, yes. On the opposing side, Nashville though, I mean, we know Florida has been exposed in the past, but are you off Nashville with not much to play for other than the President's Trophy? And like, I mean, is
So
Ellie
yeah,
Kenya?
it appears as if Arvidsson is going to be shut down for the regular season. He suffered what looked like a rather not nasty, but it just looked bad. He got like tangled up in the corner and limped off the ice, came back for a shift, and then missed last game. So I'm assuming that he's done for the regular season. Um, so yeah, I kind of like Tolvanen more when like he was kind of definitively replacing someone in the lineup. It seemed like as soon as Arvidsson went out, he kind of became like an afterthought on their team. So I don't hate the play because he's 3.2, but I just don't think the minutes will be there. I don't think the power play role is going to kind of turn into what we thought it would. Um, but let's see. I just want to make sure. Last game,
Yeah, they rolled four lines like nobody's business for five
yeah,
on five. I mean, the only line that saw a touch of more 5-on-5 time was the Turris Hartman Fiala line. Um, I don't really. I mean, Turris was kind of on the first power play, took over for Arvidsson, and Benino was there as well. If you want to consider that the first power play, Turris, Benino, Ellis, Subban, and Forsberg. And then the second unit, or first, if you prefer it, would be Yossi, Sissons, Tovalin, Smith, and Johansson. I mean, they're kind of 1A, 1B at this point, which is not the norm. So if you want Tovalin, you can consider him. I don't know. They split the power play minutes 50-50. It's I wouldn't consider one kind of way over the other, but yeah, there's not much upside on Nashville. They really, I mean, Benino led them in total minutes by a
right,
forward. Sissons in
yeah,
second. Like, there's no Forsberg only saw 14 total minutes. So like, it's just, they're gonna roll four lines. They don't want to tire their team out. They're going for the cup. They're not going for the President's Trophy. That doesn't mean much to them. So I'm probably gonna stay away personally. These defensemen are a bit too expensive to where I think you
yeah.
could find better value. Um,
I think a one-off makes sense if you're trying to play Tolvanen just
yeah,
because you want to ride the. I think people will jump off of that bandwagon, and I could certainly see him playing 16 minutes and sliding in alongside Johansson. But
he is,
looking at last game, they Forsberg, Johansson, Smith combined for 3 goals at 5-on-5. So
and
guess
Tovalin is 200% a shot producer in the
right,
future, and it might not be coming right now like Donato. Oh my god, I almost did it again. I caught myself in time. Like Donato, where it just came into the league and was like, I will shoot everything. Like this guy literally was in Finland probably like 3 days ago. So maybe give him 1 second. But
right.
I think like don't sleep on this kid. Like don't nap. Don't even take a nap. Like keep an eye on what he's doing because he is going to be a DFS beast in the future.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree there. So let's go to Arizona at Calgary. Uh,
Which team's
Piers
more dead?
at Monahan. Uh, Monahan's done. I want to say Brody is done. Uh, Dvorak for Arizona is not done, but he's done for the next 2 games. Um, So I'm trying to figure out what that does to a guy like Dylan Strome. Actually, let me make sure Strome's still with the team because
You can never do no.
yeah,
Well,
but I
Arizona
think
coming off a 6-goal effort against St. Louis, who
okay, yeah, he had 3 assists too.
he had reassessed, yes, and was on the first.
Second,
No, he's on the power. Oh, second. Yeah,
okay, yeah,
that is that's what you want to see. I don't know. He's a punt. Like don't. I'm not gonna sleep on that. At 2.9, like that's a punt worth thinking about.
yeah. So
Um,
imagine going into
yo,
the season and
Sean
like,
Monahan's 3K.
yeah, no, I was like, wait, is he? But yeah, he's definitely done. Um,
If
so
he
I
plays
think
tomorrow, oh boy.
no, he will not. Don't
I
even
know.
try to trick anyone.
All right, I won't. I
Um,
won't. Sorry.
so yeah, I mean, I think the thing here is that there's a lot of decent values. Both of these teams are done for, but man, it's really tough to look past guys. Chikrin's just been awesome. Um, I think Strome is a really nice play because he'll be centering Max Domi. Hopefully Zach Ronaldo gets kicked off that line, but who knows? And getting a guy like that this cheap still, 2.9 with a solid power play 2 role, I think that's fine. And Calgary certainly isn't a team I'm afraid of offensively. Even Clayton Keller, I mean, he's not even 6,000 yet, but look at what he's done over the past 10 games. Like, he is absolutely smashing. So I could certainly see almost any of these Arizona guys being in play, which is a bit silly, but I'm going as cheap as I can here, I think. And one name to note on the Calgary side, Spencer Fu was playing with Gaudreau in practice today, so
Yeah, and
that
last game
seems like
he was out
very
there.
okay. So that seems like very good news.
Second power play for Fu. He's the guy I mentioned before the year started. He was kind of like a college free agent that people were excited about. I think he kind of profiles more as a playmaker, so he kind of be a kind of stack with Gaudreau type of guy, like not maybe a standalone entity, but saying that I'll probably have 3 shots, 3 goals now. On the Arizona side, I am looking at Jacob Chutrin again. He is the first power play with Keller, Panic, Stepan, and Ekman Larson, so definitely keep him in mind. Yeah, I do think this is kind of a game where you could look at, I mean, because Arizona does really roll 4 lines pretty decently with like the top guys getting a little bit of a bump. So any of these lines are kind of in play. Depends what kind of stack you're looking at. Like Strome, Domi do get the power play correlation. They did have a good game last game. I don't know if you want to chase those points too much though. And then like Keller, Stepan would be like your top end Arizona stack. I don't think many people are going to have it, even though Calgary has been egregiously bad. If you could say that, that's probably not proper English. So why don't we move on?
Yeah, so
Egregious.
Dougie's Dougie, but the price has gone back up for Dougie, so I'm not that interested. So let's go to Vegas at Vancouver. Vegas today practiced without Riley Smith, David Perron, and Jonathan Marchessault. They have the Pacific Division clinched after their game over the weekend against San Jose, so um, I think they could just be resting these guys. I'm God, that's so gross. I think if this team goes into a game without Smith, Perron, and Marchessault against Vancouver, I mean, this might be just a total fade for me. Like Shea
Yeah.
Theodore is almost 5K already. Uh, same thing with Tuck. Tuck is 5K. I just don't think there's much value here that we're gonna like uncover. Um, I know your boy DJ William Carlson, first star of the week this past week. He
Wild Bill.
practiced. He's probably going to score 100 goals because that's what
But
Wild Bill does. So,
is he the
um,
most expensive center on the slate for 500?
oh, very much so, DJ.
Very much so. What is yes?
I mean,
Personally, like no thank you. Uh but
hey, look
man,
at those splits against
I mean,
Vancouver this year, though, DJ.
yeah, I mean nothing like a 5 game sample size to get me going here.
A three game
Yeah,
three game sample size, DJ.
William Carlson's only played Vancouver 3 times.
Yeah, it does seem strange, doesn't it?
Well, they're playing now, but don't they play 5 total
Uh,
in division? Is it 4?
maybe he wasn't. No, he didn't. He didn't miss any games, right? No, he hasn't missed any
Um,
games.
No, I don't know. Whatever. You know what? Tweet at us and let us know why he hasn't played more games. Yeah, it feels untouchable. It probably is untouchable. There probably will be a value guy in here that people get excited about on Vegas with the lines changing. Kind of not for me. Um, I'll give it a look. Like a guy like did you say Neil was out or no?
Perron.
Perron.
I
Okay,
think.
so I could consider a guy like James Neal. His shot metrics have been pretty good as of late. I would
Yeah,
consider him as like a
he's also
good.
been super unlucky. He has
Yes,
one goal in
that's
his
what I
last
mean.
29 shots. So
Yeah, so I could see him as a guy that people might sleep on and not put in because they'd be like, "Who's the big punt guy for Vegas?" And then they're gonna skip over a 5-3 James Neal, who I'm fine with playing tomorrow. And then on the Vancouver side, I know you mentioned Gagne before, and Gagne decided to reward everyone that played him. Was there anyone else? I mean, Vancouver's lines have been a mess at best. Uh,
um, yeah, not really.
okay, fair enough.
um, I mean, I did have some interest in like Adam Gaudette. He was fine in his first couple games. Like, I can see him being a factor. But let me actually check the power play because I was interested in that. And
He played in the power play against Columbus with
okay.
Godolbin, Jokinen, Pouliot. Well,
Oh,
they
you
have
know
a
what?
Pouliot too.
Yeah, they have Derek.
Derek Pouliot. That sounds
Um,
familiar.
yeah, but I guess the big news of today actually was the Sedin's announced their retirement at the end of the year. Did you
Oh
catch
yeah.
that? Um,
No, I did not. I was
so
extremely busy today. I'm glad you told me. That's sad.
so maybe there's some Kobe's final game narrative going here.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I don't
well,
actually believe that, but
you know what? It's a really good thing that they didn't. Jim Benning did not trade them at the deadline. You know, you don't want to give them a chance at the cup, and you really want them to go out with this team.
this team
Yeah.
without Brock Besser. Yeah, that's
Oh
it's pretty
God.
sad.
So yeah,
Yeah,
why
I
is there
guess
anything here you were
one
gonna?
one more name. I'm just looking at Vegas's last game. Ryan Carpenter was on that first power play. I don't really understand why, but if he's there again, assuming that they have a lot of guys missing or whatever, he's 3K. I mean, we saw him go red hot earlier this year, so whatever.
All right,
I'm over it.
I'm going 100% Colin Miller, James Neal tomorrow.
That's
Lock
that's
it in.
actually that's
Colin,
actually smart. Yeah, Colin Miller's.
Colin Miller's been really cold, but like he isn't the guy that I think will be knocked down for long. He's been blocking a ton of shots, not taking as many as normal, but 3-8, like yeah, you can find me playing Colin Miller probably. But we can move on to
Yes.
Dallas at San Jose. Dallas is out now, right?
Yes, Dallas is done, but they are icing a lineup as you would suspect. Um, I don't actually know if they had Kane or sorry, God, Sagan, Ben, Radulov together, but good lord, Radulov's price is so low now.
Yeah.
That's geez, that's really interesting to me, just because like he's been super good. He's
He
playing a
shoots the
ton of
puck a
minutes.
lot.
Yeah, I mean he's just a really good player. So even though they're done, I think that he still makes sense. Like I just don't buy into the fact that like these players will literally stop playing. Like I understand that they might not dive in front of a shot or they might not play as many minutes because their coach kind of wants to roll the lines a bit more. But when you have a team like Dallas, I just don't think they're going to turn that off and turn Sagan, Ben Radulov into 16, 17-minute a night guys. So I just think at this price, they make a ton of sense. And also noteworthy, Evander Kane is officially a game time decision for this one. Obviously, with Vegas clinching the division, San Jose has clinched the playoffs, so they don't really have anything to play for. If Kane is out, I don't know who really slides up, but unless it's
Timo.
Kevin Labanc, I don't really have much interest in it, to be honest.
Timo's been shooting the puck a ton lately too, though.
Yeah, he
Past
has. He's
3 games ish, he's
up
been
yeah, he's up
doing the shooting the puck thing.
yeah, his price is fine, I guess. I love me some Timo. So but yeah, if Keen's out, I think it's either Timo or Labonte. I'm not really interested in Hurdle. Um, but I guess if Hurdle's the guy that plays on the first power play, you can certainly play that too. I'm just not that eager to jump all over Dallas because it's really not been like lack of goal scoring that's done Dallas, or sorry, goals, goaltending. Like you would think, like, oh, Dallas, they just don't have a goalie. Like that's not really been the case with them. They just haven't been able to score a goal. They're getting a ton of shots and just no luck. So yeah, I don't know. I guess this game's a bit more appealing to me than I'm letting on because I do like a lot of the individual plays here. But I do worry a little bit about stacking San Jose.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Then why don't we just get into our favorite stacks and then guaranteed goals? Close this one out. Matt, I'll send it to you first. Do you have a stack in mind?
Uh, were you trying to lift the Tampa stack for me?
If you want it, you can have
All
it.
right.
But yeah, I was definitely trying to. No, I was kidding. Go on.
All right. I'm gonna go with the 5-on-5 line of Tyler Johnson, Kucherov, and JT Miller. Um, yeah, I mean JT Miller at 5.7. I just don't think that it's all Stamkos here. Like we saw last year, Kucherov drag a team to, literally almost drag a team to the playoffs, a la Nate McKinnon kind of last year. Um, so, I mean, I just think that even with no Stamkos, that just adds a little bit of value without taking much away from their downside. And if people are going to, fade this game because of Boston, then just sign me up. I don't really see a ton of spots here that have great narratives for them. So I just think that taking a solid offensive team against a team that struggled defensively makes sense.
All right, I'll go with the Dallas stack. You trying to talk me into it. I was definitely considering Radulov before, but honestly, Sagan, Radulov, Ben all together could be actually like some of the cheap, like not cheapest, well, kind of the cheapest, but definitely maybe
They're super cheap
like
for where
yeah,
they
they're
normally
actually and
are.
Klingberg is also down to 5.2 now. I'm pretty sure he's been actually pretty cold, but I know that
Yeah,
it's not
he's
too
been
bad.
bad.
But the sim has definitely been kind of into him. I don't know. I
Yeah,
would
I mean,
consider the Klingberg. I don't think you need to go all four. If you want to go with the three, Sagan, Ben Radulov, I'm fine with it. But I'm not afraid to go against San Jose. Um, like they're kind of a push the pace type of team. If Kane's
mhm.
out too, then like there's a guy that I don't know. I honestly don't know if I would consider Evander Kane as a guy that doesn't like help the opposing team just because he's shooting the puck a lot. Just like
Mhm.
I don't know. But yeah,
Um,
either way, I'm still into it.
yeah, one more Dallas thing. Julius Honka like played 16 minutes last game. He'll play again. This seems like the perfect time to give him some run. So if you're a Honka truther, he's 2.7.
I am.
Seems hashtag good. But
I'm a Honka truther.
yeah, I mean, so that could
That
be
was
the
like the
punt.
one guy I wanted in the Evander Kane trade. I'm like, yo, send him to Dallas. Give
Wow,
me
that's
Honka.
yeah, that would be
Did
pretty
not
cool.
happen. All right, cheap
Um,
stacks. Do you want me to just say mine again? Because I already know what it is.
yeah, you can go for it.
James Neal and
Hmm,
some of that hot, fresh Colin Miller.
nice,
And if you
nice.
had to throw in a third guy, I had that 1 second ago. I don't know. It's gonna. Well, the thing is, I don't know because I don't know what lines they're gonna have. But if you're looking last game power play, Tatar and Howla were both with Neil 5-on-5 and the power play. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm. Yeah, I think the Rangers are a little bit too. Uh, I think they're a little bit too thin to play, but I am kind of interested in like a double stack of Zibanejad, and if we get like Keedle or Elias Anderson confirmed in that top six role alongside Zibanejad, that could be really nice. Um, but in lieu of that, I'm going to go with Barzell and Eberly. I just think they're really good values here for their prices. Like they only total 11,000 between the two of them,
That is
and
sharp.
you've seen them absolutely break slates many times here. They're playing at home. Uh, Philly's still kind of clawing for that playoff berth, but I think Tavares is going to get most of that Couturier action if you look at the last time these two teams played. So I like Barzell and Eberle together and think that, keep an eye on the defensive situation. If they play seven, I'm not interested at all, but maybe if Letty rests again, you get something cool like that. But um, those two I think are a nice stack.
All right. Are you ready for some guaranteed goals to
Yeah.
close it out? Okay. Okay, hold on. It's not gonna work. I really want Vinny Trocheck, honestly. I mean, I would really go with I want one Florida guy. I think I'm gonna go with Trocheck here, just because why not? And then Tyler Johnson would fit in there just fine. So At 11-2, I'm gonna throw Tyler Johnson in. I think he was in one of your stacks, but whatever, I'm taking him.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I really did like Radulov, but I'm gonna go a little bit more off the board here, just because. Why not? I mean, we've only got 2 shows left, DJ. So,
We only got 2 shows, so go with 2 3K guys. You won't go with Heedle and Strom.
yeah,
We're combined 5
I mean,
something K, 5 8.
I may as well make it spicy, right? Um,
With Heedle, they'll make it spicy.
that's good. That's good,
That was
DJ.
the sound to be dropping the mic. I don't know if it's gonna come through or not.
Take a bow. I'm gonna go with Dylan Larkin. He's scored goals in back-to-back games now. He's just firing the puck like a madman. So yeah, I like Dylan Larkin here a lot. Um, let's see. For the second guy, that leaves me with just about 60 something hundred. Boy.
Just take Radulov. You know you want to.
All right, yeah, let's just go Radulov. I think
it's the smart play here. I honestly would have taken him if I didn't already.
Yeah.
Him, so.
Yeah, I was looking at Gossespierre, but I think you're right. I think you're right. So, all right, that will just about do it. I think I looked up every single team and saw like every single bit of news that I could gather about them.
I did not.
But if I missed anything, be sure to tune into the group me. We'll be discussing it all day. Message us on Twitter, DM us at Morningscape Pod if you're looking to be included in that. We will have the Listener League tallied for Thursday's show, and then maybe the winner of March will come on one of our playoff previews or something. So just something a little bit cool to look forward to. And yes, I think we've mentioned it before, but when the regular season ends, that doesn't mean our job here at the Morningscape Pod is over. We will be previewing each series with DFS implications. So be sure to stay tuned for that come next week. So DJ, one more show. Anything else to say before we head into this Tuesday?
Just that we'll announce the Listener League winner for March next podcast because neither of us looked it up.
Literally what I just said.
Did you really, dude? I totally zoned out. Okay, I'm going to bed.
All right. So yeah, great show. It's bedtime.
It's past midnight.
Yeah, so
I am toast.
Thank you for listening, everybody. From Doug.
That is classic me.
All right, from Doug, from myself. Have a good slate, everybody, and we will see ya.